Hi everyone, welcome back to Pine Hat. I hope you're all doing well. Tonight, we're talking about Soos Ramirez, the handyman, the man-child, the heart of the Mystery Shack. Soos is often the comic relief of Gravity Falls. He's the guy who says something silly to break the tension. He's the one who doesn't quite get the joke but laughs anyway. But underneath that goofy exterior, Soos has one of the most heartbreaking stories in the entire show. Tonight, we're going through every moment that made you feel bad for Soos, every scene where the comedy faded and something real showed through. Every time you realized this character was carrying more weight than he let on. If you're settling in for the night, this is going to be an emotional journey. Soos deserves it. He's given so much to everyone around him. Tonight, we give something back. All right, let's begin. Before we dive into specific moments, let's talk about who Soos is and why his story matters. Soos Ramirez is the handyman at the Mystery Shack. He's been working there for years, long before Dipper and Mabel arrived. He's loyal to Stan in a way that goes beyond employment. He sees Stan as a father figure. Soos is overweight. He lives with his grandmother, Abuelita. He has no romantic relationships at the start of the show. He spends most of his time at work or playing video games. On paper, Soos looks like a failure, a 30-something man-child who never grew up, never moved out, never achieved conventional success. But the show doesn't treat Soos as a failure. It treats him as a hero. Soos is kind in a world that often isn't. He's loyal when others would leave. He's genuine when others are fake. He sees the best in people even when they don't deserve it. These aren't weaknesses. These are strengths. The show knows this even when other characters don't. The first thing to understand about Soos is his father, or rather, his absent father. Soos's dad left when Soos was young. We don't know exactly when or why. What we know is that he's been gone for most of Soos's life. This absence defines Soos more than anything else. Every year on Soos's birthday, he waits for a card from his father. Every year, he hopes this will be the year his dad reaches out. Every year, he's disappointed. The show doesn't reveal this immediately. It lets us get to know Soos as the funny guy first. Then, slowly, it peels back the layers to show us the pain underneath. This is good storytelling. It's also realistic. People don't walk around with their trauma visible. They hide it under jokes and enthusiasm. Soos hides his better than most. Let's talk about Blendin's game. This is the episode that breaks you. It's Soos's birthday. He doesn't want to celebrate. He hates his birthday. Every year, it reminds him that his father doesn't care enough to reach out. The twins don't understand at first. To them, birthdays are fun. Birthdays mean presents and cake and attention. Why would anyone hate their birthday? Then they learn the truth. Soos's dad has never sent a birthday card. Not once. Not a call, not a letter, not any sign that he remembers his son exists. Imagine being Soos. Imagine being a child, waiting by the mailbox every year, hoping this year will be different, learning again and again that your father doesn't care. Now imagine being an adult who still hopes, who still checks the mail on his birthday, who still hasn't given up, even after decades of disappointment. That's Soos. That's the tragedy underneath the comedy. In Blendin's game, Dipper and Mabel travel back in time to try to fix things. Their plan is to find young Soos and give him a better birthday memory. If they can make one birthday good, maybe it will help. They find young Soos at a laser tag arena. It's his 12th birthday. He's alone. Let me say that again. It's his 12th birthday and he's alone at a laser tag arena. No friends came to his party. His dad didn't show up. His mom is somewhere. Young Soos is sitting by himself trying to have fun, pretending it's okay. The scene is devastating. This chubby kid in a party hat shooting at targets alone, talking to himself because there's no one else to talk to. Dipper and Mabel join his game. They pretend to be time travel agents on a mission. They give young Soos the adventure he deserved, the attention, the excitement, the feeling that someone cares. For one afternoon, young Soos isn't alone. But here's what makes the episode truly heartbreaking. At the end, adult Soos has a chance to confront his father. Through time travel shenanigans, Soos can finally meet his dad. He can ask why. He can get the closure he's been waiting for his entire life. He chooses not to. Soos realizes something important. His father's approval isn't what he needs. He's spent his whole life waiting for validation from someone who doesn't deserve to give it. Instead, Soos chooses the family he already has. Stan, Abuelita, Dipper, and Mabel, the people who actually show up for him. This is growth. This is maturity. This is Soos letting go of the fantasy father and embracing the real relationships in his life. But it's also sad, because Soos deserved a father who cared. He deserved birthday cards and phone calls and someone who showed up to his laser tag party. He didn't get that. He never will. And choosing to move on doesn't erase that pain. It just means he's learned to live with it. Let's talk about Soos's childhood in more detail. The show gives us glimpses. They're never the focus, but they're there. Soos grew up poor, or at least lower middle class. His family was working class. There wasn't extra money for luxuries. He was raised primarily by his grandmother after his father left. Abuelita did her best, but she couldn't replace a missing parent. Soos was probably bullied as a child. He's overweight, he's nerdy, he's earnest in a way that kids find mockable. The show never shows bullying explicitly, but it's easy to imagine. His 12th birthday, alone at laser tag, tells us everything. Soos didn't have friends. Soos didn't have a support system. Soos had himself and his grandmother and a father-shaped hole in his life. When Soos discovered the mystery shack, he found something he'd been missing. A place to belong, a purpose, a man, Stan, who needed him. Stan didn't adopt Soos formally. He hired him. But in every way that matters, Stan became the father Soos never had. Let's examine Soos's relationship with Stan. Soos worships Stan. This isn't too strong a word. He sees Stan as a hero, a mentor, a father figure. But here's what's complicated. Stan doesn't always treat Soos well. Stan is gruff. He's dismissive. He treats Soos like an employee, not like family. He makes fun of Soos. He underpays him. He takes him for granted. Does Stan care about Soos? Yes, absolutely. The show makes this clear in various ways. But Stan doesn't express affection well. His love comes out sideways, hidden under sarcasm and grumpiness. For Soos, this is probably familiar. He's used to loving people who don't show love back. He's used to being devoted to people who seem indifferent. This isn't healthy. Soos deserves better. But it's also understandable. When you've never had a father's love, you'll accept whatever approximation you can find. There are small moments throughout the series that reveal Soos's pain. In one episode, Soos mentions that he's never been on a date. He's in his 20s, maybe 30s. His exact age is unclear, and he's never had a romantic relationship. This isn't played for laughs, exactly. It's just stated. Soos is lonely in a fundamental way. He wants connection, but doesn't know how to find it. In another episode, Soos talks about his dreams for the future. They're modest, a girlfriend, maybe a family someday, a life that looks like what normal people have. Soos doesn't dream of wealth or fame or adventure. He dreams of normalcy, of belonging, of being loved. These small moments accumulate. They paint a picture of a man who's been alone for a long time, who's used to being overlooked, who's made peace with loneliness but hasn't stopped hoping for something more. Let's talk about Soos and the real girl. This episode deals directly with Soos's loneliness. Soos wants a date for his cousin's engagement party. He's tired of being the single one at family events. He's tired of the pitying looks. Stan suggests he find a date. Easy, right? Not for Soos. Soos has no idea how to talk to women. He's awkward. He's nervous. He says the wrong things. He's been so isolated for so long that basic social skills have atrophied. The episode shows Soos failing repeatedly. approaching women, saying something weird, watching them walk away. It's played for comedy, but there's real pain underneath. Soos wants connection. He doesn't know how to get it. He's been alone so long that he's forgotten how to be with people. Then Soos discovers .gif Fanny. .gif Fanny is a character from a dating simulation game. She's designed to be the perfect girlfriend. She says all the right things. She never rejects you. She loves you unconditionally. For Soos, this is intoxicating. Finally, someone who doesn't judge him. Someone who doesn't walk away. Someone who seems to genuinely like him. Of course, .gif Fanny is artificial. Her love isn't real. It's programmed. But for someone as starved for affection as Soos, the simulation is enough. The episode explores the danger of artificial relationships. .gif Fanny becomes possessive, then dangerous. She can't accept that Soos might want real human connection. But before the horror elements kick in, there's something genuinely sad about Soos with .gif Fanny. He's so desperate for love that a video game character seems like his best option. The episode has a happy ending. Soos meets Melody, a real human woman who works at the same restaurant where .gif Fanny attacks. She's kind, she's understanding, she likes Soos for who he is. Soos chooses Melody over .gif Fanny. He chooses real connection over artificial perfection. This is growth. Soos learns that he deserves real love, that he's capable of finding it, that he doesn't have to settle for simulations. But the episode lingers in my mind because of what it reveals. Soos was so lonely, so convinced he couldn't find love, that a video game girlfriend seemed reasonable. That level of loneliness doesn't develop overnight. It takes years of rejection, years of isolation, years of feeling unworthy. Soos found Melody, but he almost didn't. And there are real people like Soos who don't find their Melody, who stay in their simulations because reality has hurt them too many times. Let's talk about Soos at work. Soos works at the Mystery Shack every day. He fixes things. He helps with attractions. He does whatever Stan asks. He's paid poorly. The show makes jokes about this. Stan's cheapness is a running gag. But think about what it means. Soos works full-time for a man he considers a father figure. That man pays him barely enough to survive. That man doesn't acknowledge their relationship beyond employment. Soos accepts this because he doesn't know he deserves better. He accepts low pay because he's grateful to have a job at all. He accepts Stan's treatment because any attention from a father figure is better than none. This isn't healthy, but it's realistic. People who grew up without proper parental love often accept poor treatment because they don't know what good treatment looks like. There's an episode where Soos thinks Stan is replacing him. A new employee shows up at the Mystery Shack. He's younger, more competent, more conventionally appealing. Soos panics. What if Stan doesn't need him anymore? What if he's been replaceable all along? What if the closest thing he has to a father decides to get a better son? The fear in Soos is palpable. This isn't about a job. This is about family. This is about the terror of abandonment that's been with Soos since his real father left. The episode resolves happily. Stan isn't replacing Soos. It was a misunderstanding. But Soos's fear reveals how fragile his sense of security is. He's always waiting for the other shoe to drop. Always expecting to be left. Always bracing for another father to walk away. Let's talk about Soos and the twins. When Dipper and Mabel arrive at the Mystery Shack, Soos becomes like an older brother to them. He plays with them. He helps them with their adventures. He's there when they need support. For Soos, this is meaningful. He finally has something like siblings. He finally has people who look up to him instead of down at him, but there's also something bittersweet about it. Soos is an adult. Dipper and Mabel are children. They'll grow up. They'll leave. They'll have lives that don't include the handyman at their great-uncle's tourist trap. The twins love Soos, but their love is temporary in a way. They're visiting for the summer. They have parents and schools and futures elsewhere. Soos will still be at the Mystery Shack when they're gone. He'll still be fixing attractions and helping Stan and living his quiet life. The joy Soos finds with the twins is real, but it's also finite, and Soos knows better than anyone how it feels when people leave. Let's examine some specific sad moments in detail. In the episode Scary OK, Soos is turned into a zombie. This sounds like a simple comedy beat. Funny character becomes zombie? Haha. But watch Soos's face before the transformation. He's scared. Not comedy scared, genuinely scared. He doesn't want to become a monster. He doesn't want to lose himself. The transformation is played for horror as much as comedy. Soos loses control of his body. He attacks his friends. He's trapped inside himself, watching helplessly. When the episode resolves and Soos returns to normal, he's shaken. He experienced something traumatic. The show moves on quickly, but Soos carries that. In Dreamscaperers, Bill Cipher enters Stan's mind. Soos goes into Stan's mind along with Dipper and Mabel. He sees Stan's memories. He learns things about his employer he never knew. One memory shows Stan thinking about his employees. Stan's internal monologue is dismissive. He doesn't seem to value the people who work for him. Soos hears this. He learns that Stan, the man he considers a father, sees him as expendable. The show doesn't dwell on this. Soos doesn't break down or confront Stan. But imagine how that feels. Imagine loving someone like a parent. Imagine entering their mind and learning they don't value you the way you value them. Soos processes this quietly. He doesn't stop loving Stan. He doesn't stop working at the shack, but he carries that knowledge. In Not What He Seems, the world almost ends. During the chaos, Soos helps protect the twins. He's brave. He's loyal. He puts himself in danger for people he cares about. But there's a moment where Soos is genuinely scared. Not action movie scared, existentially scared. The universe might be ending. Everything he knows might disappear. Soos doesn't have much. He has his grandmother, his job, his few friends. But even that small amount feels precious when it's threatened. The episode resolves. The world doesn't end. But Soos experienced the fear of losing everything. For someone who's already lost so much, that fear cuts deep. Let's talk about Soos's birthday in more detail. Blendin's Game is the key episode, but birthdays are mentioned throughout the series. Soos doesn't celebrate his birthday. He actively avoids it. When characters mention his birthday, he changes the subject. This isn't quirky. It's a trauma response. Soos's birthday is associated with his father's absence. Every birthday reminds him that he wasn't worth remembering. Think about how fundamental birthdays are to childhood. The one day a year that's supposed to be about you. The day when people celebrate your existence. For Soos, that day became about absence, about waiting for a card that never came, about the slow realization that his father didn't care. By adulthood, Soos has internalized this. He doesn't feel worth celebrating. His birthday isn't a happy occasion, it's a wound that reopens annually. The ending of Blendin's Game deserves more attention. After Soos decides not to confront his father, the twins throw him a birthday party. Not a big party, just the people who care about him. Stan, Wendy, the twins. A small celebration by people who actually show up. Soos cries. Let me emphasize this. Soos, the comedy character, the guy who makes jokes about everything, breaks down in tears because people threw him a birthday party. He's not used to being celebrated. He's not used to people choosing him. He's spent his whole life being overlooked, and now people are looking. It's happy tears, but it's still tears. It's joy, but it's also grief. Soos is crying for every birthday he spent alone, for every card that never came, for the childhood he should have had. Let's talk about Soos's relationship with his grandmother. Abuelita is Soos's primary family. She raised him when his father left. She's been his constant throughout his life. Soos loves his grandmother deeply. He takes care of her. He lives with her not just because he can't afford to move out, but because he wants to be there for her. But Abuelita is old. The show doesn't dwell on this, but it's implied. She won't be around forever. For Soos, this is terrifying. His grandmother is his anchor. When she's gone, he'll truly be alone. The show doesn't explore this fear directly, but it's there, underneath everything. Soos has already lost one parent. He's preparing, consciously or not, to lose another. There are moments where Soos's self-esteem issues surface. He makes self-deprecating jokes constantly about his weight, his intelligence, his lack of success. These jokes are usually played for comedy. Soos is the funny guy who doesn't take himself seriously, but self-deprecation can be a mask. When you make fun of yourself first, others can't hurt you with insults. You've already said the worst things about yourself. Soos's jokes reveal how he sees himself. Fat, dumb, unsuccessful, not worth much. He learned these beliefs somewhere, probably from a father who left, from peers who mocked him, from a society that values things Soos isn't. The tragedy is that Soos's self-image is wrong. He's kind, loyal, capable, worthy of love. But he doesn't see himself that way. Let's examine Soos's dreams. In Dreamscaperers, we briefly see Soos's dreamscape. It's revealing. Soos dreams of simple things, being appreciated, being included, having the kind of life that seems easy for others. His dreams aren't grandiose. He doesn't fantasize about wealth or power or fame. He fantasizes about normalcy. This tells us that Soos sees normal life as aspirational. Other people take for granted things that Soos can only dream of: a father who cares, friends who include him, a romantic partner. These basic elements of human life feel like fantasies to Soos. Let's talk about Soos during Weird Mageddon. When Bill Cipher takes over Gravity Falls, Soos becomes a resistance fighter. He's brave during the apocalypse. He protects people. He fights monsters. He risks his life for his community. But there's a moment that breaks my heart. When Bill captures almost everyone and turns them to stone, Soos manages to stay free. He's one of the survivors, fighting against impossible odds. Does anyone notice Soos's heroism? Does anyone thank him specifically? Not really. He's part of the group effort. He's valuable, but not highlighted. This is fitting for Soos. He does good work without recognition. He saves people without credit. He's heroic in a quiet way that nobody mentions. The apocalypse proves Soos's worth, but Soos probably doesn't see it that way. He probably still feels like the sidekick, the assistant, the guy who helps but isn't important. Let's talk about Soos's future. At the end of the series, Stan gives Soos the Mystery Shack. This is huge. Stan, who's spent years treating Soos like an expendable employee, officially recognizes him as worthy. Soos gets ownership of the place that's been his home. Soos cries again. Being given the shack means more than property. It means Stan sees him as family. It means his years of loyalty weren't worthless. It means he's not replaceable after all. But even this happy ending has shadows. Stan is leaving. The twins are leaving. Everyone Soos loves is moving on to other adventures. Soos gets the shack, but he also gets solitude. He's the one who stays while others go. Maybe Melody stays with him. Maybe he builds a life. But in that moment of receiving the shack, Soos is also receiving goodbye. Let's go through the series chronologically and identify every moment that made us feel bad for Soos. Season 1, Episode 1. Tourist Trapped. Soos appears as the handyman. He's friendly, helpful, a little odd. What makes us feel bad? Nothing specific yet, but pay attention to how Stan talks to him. Already, there's a pattern of dismissal. Soos is eager to please, and Stan barely notices. Season 1, Episode 2. The Legend of the Gobblewonker. Soos joins Dipper and Mabel on their lake adventure. What makes us feel bad? Soos mentions that fishing trips remind him of his father. He says it casually, but there's weight underneath. This is our first hint that Soos has father issues. He also says his father took him fishing once. Then he pauses. Then he clarifies it was actually a man he thought was his father, but turned out to be a man on a bus. This joke is dark. Soos was so desperate for a father figure that he mistook a random stranger on a bus for a parent. Season 1, Episode 3, Headhunters. Soos helps with the wax figure mystery. What makes us feel bad? Soos is excited to be included in the investigation. Too excited. His enthusiasm reveals how rarely he's included in things. Season 1, Episode 5, The Inconveniencing. Soos doesn't appear much in this episode, but his absence is notable. The teens have an adventure without him. Soos is too old to fit in with Wendy's friend group, too young to be a full adult. He exists in a lonely middle ground. Season 1, Episode 9, The Time Traveler's Pig. Soos appears briefly. What makes us feel bad? Nothing specific, but watch his background reactions. He's always happy to see the twins. He lights up around them. They're the closest thing to friends his own emotional age. Season 1, Episode 13, Boss Mabel. Mabel takes over the Mystery Shack. What makes us feel bad? Soos works hard under both Stan and Mabel. He's loyal to whoever's in charge. He doesn't complain, doesn't ask for more, just does his job. His lack of ambition isn't laziness, it's learned helplessness. Soos doesn't expect more because he's never gotten more. Season 1, Episode 15, The Deep End. Soos helps with the pool episode. What makes us feel bad? There's a moment where Soos mentions he can't swim. He never learned. Nobody taught him. Swimming is something parents teach their children. Soos's inability is another mark of parental absence. Season 1, Episode 19, Dreamscaperers. The first Bill Cipher episode. What makes us feel bad? Inside Stan's mind, Soos sees how Stan really thinks about him. It's not flattering. Soos doesn't react outwardly. He pushes the pain down. He keeps helping, keeps being loyal, keeps hoping that Stan's feelings might change. Season 1, Episode 20, Gideon Rises, the season finale. What makes us feel bad? When the Mystery Shack is lost, Soos is devastated, not because of the job, because of the family. The shack is his home in every way that matters. Losing it means losing his place in the world. Season 2, Episode 1, Scary OK, Zombies Attack the Shack. What makes us feel bad? Soos becomes a zombie. He loses himself. He attacks the people he loves. When he returns to normal, he's shaken. He experienced loss of control, loss of identity. For someone whose identity is already fragile, this is traumatic. Season 2, Episode 2, Into the Bunker. The Shapeshifter episode. What makes us feel bad? Soos is brave, helping explore the dangerous bunker, but nobody particularly thanks him. He's part of the team, but not celebrated. Season 2, Episode 5, Soos and the Real Girl. The Giffany episode. We discussed this earlier, but let's go deeper. What makes us feel bad? Everything. Soos's loneliness is laid bare. His inability to connect romantically. His willingness to accept artificial love because real love feels impossible. The scene where Soos practices talking to women is painful. He's so bad at it. He's so nervous. He's so clearly been alone for a long time. When .gif Fanny shows him affection, Soos blooms. He becomes happier, more confident. It's fake affection from a video game, but it's more than he's had. The episode ends happily. Soos meets Melody, but the journey there reveals how deep his loneliness goes. Season 2, Episode 8, Blendin's game. Soos's birthday episode. The most important Soos episode. What makes us feel bad? Everything, again. Young Soos alone at laser tag. Adult Soos hating his birthday. The card that never comes. The father who never cared. Soos's decision not to confront his father is heartbreaking in its maturity. He's choosing health over closure. He's choosing to move on instead of getting answers. But moving on doesn't mean the pain is gone. It means carrying it better. Season 2, Episode 11. Not what he seems. The portal activation. What makes us feel bad? Soos faces the potential end of everything he knows. He's scared but brave. When Ford emerges from the portal, Soos is confused. Everything he thought he knew about Stan is wrong. Soos processes this quietly, as he does everything. But his foundation has been shaken. Season 2, Episode 12. A Tale of Two Stans. We learn Stan and Ford's history. What makes us feel bad? Soos watches Stan's story unfold. He sees that Stan, his father figure, also had a complicated relationship with his own brother. Soos relates to family pain. He understands what it's like to be left, to be dismissed, to want reconciliation that never comes. Season 2, Episode 17, Dipper and Mabel versus the Future. The Rift episode. What makes us feel bad? Soos isn't central to this episode, but he's present. He's always present, working, helping, being there. The apocalypse is coming. Soos doesn't know it yet, but his world is about to end. Season 2, Episodes 18 to 20. Weirdmageddon. The finale trilogy. What makes us feel bad? Soos fights through the apocalypse. He's brave, loyal, essential to the resistance, but he's rarely thanked, rarely highlighted. He does heroic things in the background while others get the spotlight. In Part 3, when everyone forms the cipher wheel, Soos is there. He's one of the 10. He matters, but the wheel fails because of Stan and Ford's argument. Soos was doing his part. Others let him down. At the very end, Soos receives the mystery shack. Finally, Stan acknowledges him. Finally, Soos gets what he deserves. He cries. Of course he cries. Let's now talk about themes in Soos's story. The central theme is abandonment. Soos was abandoned by his father. This trauma echoes through everything else. His desperate need for approval, his willingness to accept poor treatment, his fear of others leaving. Soos clings to people because he's terrified of being alone. He's been alone. He knows what it costs. Another theme is invisibility. Soos often feels invisible. Stan dismisses him. Customers ignore him. Even his friends sometimes forget he's there. Being invisible is painful. You're present, but not seen. You're there, but not acknowledged. You're doing work that nobody notices. Soos has felt invisible his whole life. His father didn't see him. His peers didn't see him. He learned to accept being overlooked. A third theme is unconditional loyalty. Soos gives loyalty freely. To Stan, to the twins, to anyone who shows him kindness. This loyalty is beautiful, but also sad. Soos doesn't demand reciprocity. He doesn't expect equal treatment. He's so grateful for any attention that he doesn't ask for more. Healthy relationships involve mutual care. Soos often gives more than he receives. He's used to the imbalance. A fourth theme is found family. Soos's biological family is broken. His father left. His mother is absent or uninvolved. His grandmother is aging, but Soos builds a found family. Stan becomes a father figure. The twins become siblings. Wendy and others become friends. This found family saves Soos. Without them, he'd be completely alone. With them, he has something to live for. The message is hopeful. You can build family from whoever loves you. But it's also sad. Soos shouldn't have had to build it. He should have had family from the start. Let's talk about what Soos represents. Soos represents the overlooked people, the ones who work hard without recognition, the ones who give without receiving. the ones who carry pain without showing it. Every workplace has a Soos, someone who keeps things running, who helps everyone, who gets taken for granted. Every family has a Soos, someone who shows up, who remembers birthdays, who does the emotional labor. Every friend group has a Soos, the one who's always there, always available, always supportive. These people are essential. Without them, everything falls apart. But they're rarely appreciated until they're gone. Soos also represents hope. Despite everything, the absent father, the lonely childhood, the years of invisibility, Soos remains kind. He remains hopeful. He remains good. He could have become bitter. He could have given up. He could have decided the world wasn't worth his kindness. He didn't. He keeps trying. He keeps loving. He keeps showing up. This is remarkable. This is strength that doesn't look like strength. This is heroism that doesn't get celebrated. Let's talk about the moments of joy in Soos's story. Because it's not all sad. There are genuine moments of happiness. When Soos meets Melody, you can see him light up. He's found someone who likes him, not a video game character, a real person. When the twins include him in adventures, he's genuinely happy. He has friends. He has purpose. When Stan gives him the shack, he's overwhelmed with emotion. He's finally been seen. He finally belongs. These moments matter. They show that Soos's life isn't only pain. There's joy too. But the joy is sweeter because we know what he's been through. We know how long he waited. We know how much he deserved this. Let me discuss Soos's arc across the series. At the beginning, Soos is static. He's the handyman. He's comic relief. He doesn't change because the show hasn't dug into him yet. In the middle, Soos gets depth. Blendin's game and Soos and the real girl show us who he really is. The comedy character becomes a tragedy. At the end, Soos grows. He chooses to move past his father. He finds romance with Melody. He receives recognition from Stan. This is a complete arc. Soos starts as a joke, becomes a tragedy, and ends as a triumph. But the triumph doesn't erase the tragedy. Soos will always carry his wounds. He'll always be the kid alone at laser tag. Growing doesn't mean forgetting. Let's talk about why Soos's story matters. It matters because it's true. Millions of people have absent fathers. Millions know what it's like to wait for cards that never come. Millions have felt invisible, have worked without recognition, have given without receiving. Millions have built found families because biological families failed them. Soos's story is their story. Seeing it animated, seeing it taken seriously, seeing it end hopefully, that matters. Soos's story also matters because it shows a different kind of masculinity. Soos isn't traditionally masculine. He's not aggressive, not dominant, not stoic. He's soft, emotional, nurturing. In a lesser show, Soos would be purely comic relief. His softness would be the joke. Gravity Falls doesn't do this. Soos's softness is his strength. His emotional openness is valuable. His nurturing nature makes him essential. The show says, you can be a man like Soos. You can be soft and still be strong. You can feel deeply and still be valuable. This message is important. Too many boys learn that emotion is weakness. Soos models a different way. Let me talk about specific lines that break my heart. When Soos says, "I just don't like my birthday, dude," he's understating years of trauma. The casualness makes it sadder. When young Soos at laser tag says, "This is fun, right? I'm having fun," he's convincing himself. He's trying to make abandonment feel okay. When Soos decides not to meet his father and says, "The kids gave me the greatest gift. You showed me I don't need a dad," he's choosing healing over answers. It's mature but devastating. When Soos receives the mystery shack and can't find words, his tears say everything. A lifetime of feeling worthless, finally contradicted. Let's talk about Soos and different types of viewers. For viewers with present, loving fathers, Soos's story might seem foreign. The pain of paternal absence might not fully register. For viewers with absent fathers, Soos's story is a mirror. Every moment lands. Every detail hurts. For viewers who felt invisible, Soos's story is validation. Someone understands. Someone made a show that gets it. For everyone, Soos's story is a reminder to appreciate the Sooses in your life, the people who show up, the people who work without recognition, the people who carry pain quietly. I want to spend some time on the animation of Soos's sad moments. Gravity Falls animators did incredible work showing Soos's emotions. Watch his face when he hears about his father. The micro-expressions, the way his smile falters before he forces it back. Watch his body language when he feels rejected. He shrinks. He takes up less space. He makes himself smaller. Watch his tears. They're not dramatic anime tears. They're realistic, wet eyes, sniffling, trying to hold it together. The animators understood that Soos needed subtlety. His pain isn't theatrical. It's quiet. It's contained. It's what real pain looks like. Let's discuss Soos's voice actor. Soos is voiced by Alex Hirsch, the show's creator. This means the person who invented Soos also gives him voice. The connection is intimate. Hirsch understands Soos from the inside. In emotional scenes, you can hear Hirsch acting his heart out. The birthday episode especially, Soos's voice cracks, wavers, breaks. Hirsch isn't just doing a funny voice for his funny character. He's channeling genuine emotion. He's treating Soos as a real person with real pain. Let's talk about what Soos teaches us. Soos teaches us that kindness matters even when it's not returned. Soos is kind to everyone. He doesn't keep score. He doesn't expect reciprocity. He's kind because it's who he is. This kindness changes people. Stan learns to appreciate him. The twins learn to value him. Melody falls in love with him. Kindness is an investment that sometimes doesn't pay off, but sometimes it does. Soos's kindness eventually creates the family he always wanted. Soos teaches us that growth is possible. When we meet Soos, he's stuck at his job, stuck in his loneliness, stuck waiting for a father who will never come. By the end, Soos has grown. He's let go of his father. He's found love. He's received recognition. If Soos can grow, so can anyone. No matter how stuck you feel, change is possible. Soos teaches us that asking for help is okay. Soos doesn't solve his problems alone. The twins help him with his birthday. Stan eventually acknowledges him. Melody enters his life. Soos accepts help when it's offered. He doesn't push people away out of pride. He lets them in. This is healthy. This is how healing happens. Soos models vulnerability as strength. Let me talk about moments from the comics and supplementary material. The Gravity Falls Lost Legends graphic novel has additional Soos content. In one story, Soos's imagination creates a fantasy world where he's a hero. In his fantasy, he's confident, capable, admired. The contrast with reality is painful. Soos imagines himself as someone worth admiring because he doesn't feel admired in real life. But the story ends with Soos realizing that his real life with real friends is better than any fantasy. Growth continues. Journal 3, the real-world book, contains entries about Soos. Ford writes about Soos with a mixture of confusion and respect. He doesn't fully understand Soos, but he recognizes his value. The journal also reveals that Soos tried to document supernatural encounters himself. His notes are disorganized but earnest. He wanted to contribute to the mystery solving. Nobody asked him to do this. Nobody acknowledged it. Soos just wanted to help. Let me talk about the fandom's response to Soos. Fans love Soos. He's one of the most popular characters. This is meaningful. In a show full of flashy characters, mysterious villains, magical twins, interdimensional portals, the most beloved character is a chubby handyman with daddy issues. Fans see themselves in Soos. They relate to his loneliness, his loyalty, his quiet heroism. Fan art often shows Soos happy. Fans want good things for him. They want to protect him from pain. This collective affection says something about what people value. We value kindness. We value authenticity. We value Soos. Let me talk about Soos as a role model. Can Soos be a role model? In some ways, yes. His kindness is worth emulating. His loyalty is admirable. His ability to grow and change is inspiring. But Soos also models some things that shouldn't be emulated. His acceptance of poor treatment from Stan, his low self-esteem, his willingness to settle. The best lesson from Soos is, be kind like him, but value yourself more than he does. Give generously, but also expect fairness. Let me discuss Soos's ending in detail. At the end of Gravity Falls, Soos has the Mystery Shack. A relationship with melody recognition from Stan, closure, or at least acceptance regarding his father. Confidence he didn't have before. This is a happy ending. Soos earned it through years of quiet goodness, but the ending is also bittersweet. Stan and Ford leave on a boat. The twins go home. Wendy stays but will eventually move on. The people Soos loves are dispersing. Soos stays. He keeps the shack running. He waits for summer when the twins might return. The happy ending involves a lot of goodbye. Soos is used to goodbyes. That's the saddest part. Let me reflect on what makes Soos's story effective. It's effective because it's gradual. We don't learn everything about Soos at once. His pain is revealed slowly through jokes that aren't quite jokes, through background moments, through episodes that dig deep. It's effective because it's earned. Soos's happy ending feels deserved because we've seen his struggle. We've been with him through loneliness and fear. It's effective because it's universal. Everyone knows a Soos. Everyone has felt invisible. Everyone has waited for someone who never came. It's effective because it doesn't exploit. The show treats Soos's pain with respect. It doesn't wallow or manipulate. It simply shows truth and lets us feel. Let me end with a message to anyone who relates to Soos. If you're waiting for a card that never comes, I'm sorry. You deserved better. If you feel invisible, you're not. Someone sees you, even if it doesn't feel that way. If you've built a found family because your given family failed, that's not second best. That's courage. That's survival. If you're the Soos of your group, the one who gives without receiving, please know that you matter. Please know that your kindness is seen even when nobody says it. Soos found his happy ending. It took time. It took pain. But it came. Yours can come too. For those of you falling asleep, I hope Soos's story has been meaningful. He's a reminder that the background people matter, that kindness is strength, that growth is possible. Sleep well. Dream of found families and birthday parties with people who care. Dream of mystery shacks where you belong. Tomorrow, Soos will wake up and go to work. He'll fix something that's broken. He'll help someone who needs it. He'll be kind without expecting anything back. And somewhere, someone will notice. Someone will appreciate him. Someone will understand that Soos is the heart of everything. That's enough. That's always been enough. Sleep well, everyone. Thank you for spending time with Soos. Good night. Wait, we're not done. There's more to Soos's story. More moments, more pain, more beauty. Let me take you deeper. Let's talk about the small moments, the ones that aren't about big plot points but reveal character through tiny details. Watch Soos when he's in the background of scenes, when he's not the focus, when the camera catches him accidentally. He's often watching others with a mixture of joy and sadness. Joy that people around him are happy. Sadness that he's watching instead of participating. Soos is frequently on the outside looking in. He's present but not centered. He's there but not the point. This is his life. This is what invisibility looks like day to day. Watch Soos when Stan gives orders. He jumps to attention. He's eager. He wants to please. This eagerness is painful when you understand it. Soos is still trying to earn approval from a father figure. He's still the kid, hoping that if he's good enough, he'll be loved. Stan doesn't notice the eagerness, or if he notices, he doesn't acknowledge it. He just expects Soos to do what he's told. This dynamic repeats constantly. Soos gives, Stan takes, nobody comments. Watch Soos when people make fun of him. He laughs along. He makes the joke bigger. He beats them to the punchline. This is a defense mechanism. If you're already laughing at yourself, others can't hurt you with their laughter, but underneath the self-deprecation is pain. Soos wouldn't mock himself if he didn't believe the mocks were true. His jokes reveal his self-image. Haha, I'm dumb. Haha, I'm fat. Haha, I'm alone. These aren't just jokes, they're confessions disguised as comedy. Watch Soos when Dipper and Mabel hug. He often watches sibling affection with a particular expression. Happy for them, but also longing. Soos doesn't have siblings. His family is fragmented. He never experienced the easy affection that siblings share. When the twins include him in a hug, his reaction is overwhelming. He clings. He doesn't want it to end. Physical affection is rare for Soos. He's hungry for it in a way that's almost uncomfortable to witness. Watch Soos when people leave. At the end of episodes, when adventures are over, people go their separate ways. The twins go to bed. Stan locks up. Everyone disperses. Soos often lingers. He's reluctant to go home. He stretches out the time, makes excuses to stay. Going home means being alone with Abuelita. It means the quiet of a small house. It means the absence of the family he wishes he had. Soos doesn't dread home exactly. He dreads the transition, the moment when community ends and solitude begins. Let's talk about Soos's relationship with Wendy. Wendy and Soos work together. They're not close friends, but they're friendly co-workers. What's interesting is what Wendy represents to Soos. Wendy is cool. She has friends. She's confident. She seems to navigate life effortlessly. Soos watches Wendy and probably wonders what that feels like. To be naturally included. To be automatically valued. To belong without trying. Wendy is kind to Soos. She doesn't mock him or dismiss him. But their relationship isn't deep. They're co-workers, not confidants. This is realistic. Not everyone becomes your close friend. But for Soos, every non-deep relationship is a reminder of his limited social world. Let's talk about Soos and food. Soos is overweight. The show doesn't ignore this. It's part of his visual design. Soos probably emotional eats. We see him excited about food throughout the series. Food is a reliable pleasure when other pleasures are uncertain. When you're lonely, food doesn't judge you. Food doesn't leave. Food is available when people aren't. This isn't stated in the show. But Soos's relationship with food parallels many real people's. Eating fills a void. Eating is comfort. Soos's weight isn't a moral failing. It's a symptom of a life with too little love and too much solitude. Let's talk about Soos and video games. Soos loves video games. He plays them constantly when he's not working. Video games provide what real life doesn't: achievement, progress, clear goals with clear rewards. In a video game, Soos can be a hero. He can complete quests. He can level up. He can matter. Real life doesn't work this way. Real life doesn't give you experience points for being kind. Real life doesn't reward loyalty with visible progress bars. Soos's gaming isn't pathetic or childish. It's a rational response to a world that doesn't value him. In games, value is quantified. In real life, it's invisible. Let's examine Soos's living situation. Soos lives with his grandmother. This is sometimes played for comedy. Grown man living with grandma. But think about why Soos lives there. He probably can't afford to live alone. Stan doesn't pay him well. Gravity Falls isn't a place with abundant economic opportunity. He also probably doesn't want to leave Abuelita alone. She's elderly. She needs care. Soos is the caretaker. And finally, moving out would mean true isolation. At least with Abuelita, there's another person in the house. There's someone to come home to. Soos's living situation isn't failure. It's family loyalty, economic reality, and fear of solitude combined. Let's talk about Abuelita herself. We see Abuelita occasionally in the series. She's portrayed as loving, but a bit out of touch. Abuelita raised Soos when his father left. She did her best. She provided stability. But a grandmother isn't a father. Abuelita couldn't play catch or teach Soos to shave or model masculinity. She loved him, but she couldn't fill every role. Soos probably feels guilty about his feelings regarding Abuelita. She gave him everything she could. He should be grateful, and he is grateful. But gratitude doesn't eliminate the father-shaped hole. Abuelita's presence doesn't cancel his father's absence. Let's talk about Soos's education. We don't know if Soos went to college. Probably not. He's described as not academically smart. He probably struggled in school. He probably faced mockery from peers and disappointment from teachers. For kids without stable homes, school is harder. You can't focus on homework when your family is falling apart. You can't study when you're wondering why your dad doesn't love you. Soos's academic limitations might be natural, or they might be consequences of trauma. Either way, they close doors. College, professional careers, certain kinds of success, these became unavailable. Soos found his place as a handyman. It's honest work, valuable work, but probably not what he dreamed of as a child. Let's imagine young Soos for a moment. Picture Soos at age 5. His father still around, maybe. Or already gone. A chubby kid, eager to please, desperate for attention. Picture Soos at age 8, definitely aware that other kids have dads who show up. Starting to wonder what's wrong with him. Picture Soos at age 12, the laser tag birthday. Alone, pretending it's fine. Picture Soos at age 16, still hoping, still checking the mail, still making excuses for a man who doesn't deserve them. Picture Soos at age 20, settling into a pattern, working at the mystery shack, living with Abuelita, giving up on certain dreams. Picture Soos at age 25 or 30, wherever he is at the start of the show. The hope fading, but not gone. The loneliness comfortable because it's familiar. This is the Soos we meet, every year built on the one before. Every disappointment layered over earlier disappointments. Let's talk about what Soos's father might have thought. We never meet Soos's father in the show. He's an absence, not a presence. But we can imagine him, a man who left, a man who started a new life somewhere else, a man who decided his son wasn't worth the effort. Does he think about Soos? Does he feel guilt? Does he even remember the birthday he missed? Probably, sometimes. Probably guilt creeps in at odd moments. Probably he pushes it away. Soos's father chose himself. He chose freedom from responsibility. He chose a life without his son. That choice was cruel, but it was also human. People leave. People fail. People can't handle what they're supposed to handle. Understanding this doesn't excuse it, but it helps explain why Soos doesn't hate his father. Soos knows that people are complicated. He knows that his father's choice was about his father, not about him. Let's talk about Soos's choice not to confront his father. In Blendin's game, Soos has the chance to meet his dad, to ask why, to demand answers. He chooses not to. This is remarkable. Most people would take that opportunity. Most people need closure. Soos realizes something profound. Closure might not be what he thinks. His father's answers might not satisfy. The confrontation might hurt more than help. More importantly, Soos realizes that his father's approval isn't what he actually needs. He's been chasing a ghost. The real relationships in his life, with Stan, with the twins, matter more than a relationship that never existed. This is wisdom. Hard-won, painful wisdom. Soos chooses the family that chose him over the family that abandoned him. But let's also sit with the sadness of that choice. Soos will never know why his father left. He'll never hear an apology. He'll never get a real explanation. He's made peace with not knowing. But making peace isn't the same as not caring. Somewhere in Soos, there's still a kid who wants his dad. That kid doesn't go away. That kid just learns to be quiet. Soos's decision is healthy, but it's also a kind of grief. He's mourning a relationship he'll never have. He's accepting a loss that he didn't choose. Let's talk about the birthday party at the end of Blendin's game. The twins throw Soos a party. Stan and Wendy are there. It's small but sincere. Soos cries. These tears are complicated. They're happy tears. He's finally being celebrated. But they're also sad tears. He's realizing how long he went without this. When you've been hungry for a long time, eating isn't just satisfying. It's also a reminder of the hunger. Every bite says, you are starving. Soos's birthday party is like that. Every moment of celebration reminds him of the celebrations he never had. Let's explore Soos's tears throughout the series. Soos doesn't cry often. He's usually the cheerful one. But when he cries, it's devastating. The birthday party is the most famous instance, but there are others. When Stan gives him the mystery shack, Soos tears up. He tries to speak and can't find words. When he thinks about his father during emotional moments, his eyes get wet, even if he doesn't fully cry. When things are genuinely scary, like during Weird Mageddon, you can see fear in his eyes that's close to tears. Soos's tears are rare because he suppresses them. He's learned to push down sadness and present happiness. When tears break through, they've overcome significant resistance. Let's talk about Soos's laugh. Soos laughs constantly. It's one of his defining traits. He finds everything funny. But listen closely to his laugh. It's not always the same. Sometimes it's genuine, pure joy, unfiltered happiness. Sometimes it's nervous, filling silence, covering discomfort. Sometimes it's forced, pretending to find something funny when he's actually hurt. Soos uses laughter as a tool. It disarms people. It makes them comfortable. It masks what he's really feeling. This isn't deception exactly. It's performance. Soos performs happiness because happiness is what people want from him. Let's discuss how other characters treat Soos. Stan treats Soos as an employee first, person second. He's not cruel, but he's dismissive. He takes Soos's loyalty for granted. This changes by the end of the series. Stan's gift of the shack shows that he finally sees Soos as family, but it takes the entire series to get there. Dipper treats Soos as a friend, but also sometimes as comic relief. Dipper appreciates Soos but doesn't always take him seriously. This is understandable. Dipper is 12, and Soos often acts childish. But it also reflects how Soos is often dismissed. Mabel treats Soos with genuine warmth. Of all the characters, Mabel might appreciate Soos most. This makes sense. Mabel values emotional connection. She sees Soos's heart. She doesn't judge his limitations. Mabel's treatment of Soos is how everyone should treat him. With kindness, with inclusion, with recognition of his worth. Wendy treats Soos professionally. They're co-workers. She's friendly, but not close. Wendy is also a teenager navigating her own social world. Soos doesn't quite fit in that world. He's too old, too different. Their relationship is fine, but fine can feel like rejection when you're desperate for connection. Ford, when he arrives, treats Soos with confusion. Ford doesn't understand Soos at first. Eventually, Ford sees Soos's value. But the initial confusion is telling. Soos isn't obviously impressive. You have to look deeper. Let's talk about Soos's heroism during Weird Mageddon. When Bill Cipher takes over, Soos becomes a resistance fighter. He doesn't have special powers. He's not particularly strong or smart, but he shows up. He fights. He protects people. Soos is brave when it counts. This is often overlooked because his bravery is quiet. He doesn't give speeches or lead charges. He just does what needs to be done. During the finale, Soos is essential to the effort. Without him and other supporters, the main characters couldn't succeed. But does anyone specifically thank Soos for his role? Does anyone highlight his contribution? Not really. He's part of the team. His effort merges with everyone else's. This is fitting for Soos. Essential but unacknowledged. Heroic but invisible. Let's imagine an alternate timeline where Soos's father never left. What would Soos's life look like? Maybe he'd be more confident. With a father's support, he might have believed in himself more. Maybe he'd be more successful. Without the distraction of family trauma, he might have done better in school. Maybe he'd have had relationships earlier. With a model of healthy partnership, he might have learned to connect. Or maybe nothing would be different. Maybe Soos's essential nature is just who he is. We can't know. But imagining this alternate Soos highlights what the real Soos lost. Let's also imagine what Soos's father missed. By leaving, Soos's father missed everything. He missed birthdays, he missed graduations, if there were any. He missed everyday moments. He missed Soos's first job. He missed Soos's friendship with Stan. He missed Soos meeting Melody. He missed his son becoming a man. Imperfect, yes. Struggling, yes. But kind, loyal, good. Soos's father lost something precious by leaving. He probably doesn't know what he lost. That might be the saddest part. Let's talk about generational trauma. Soos's father probably had his own struggles. Maybe his father wasn't present either. Maybe he never learned how to be a parent. This doesn't excuse him, but it contextualizes the pattern. Trauma passes down generations. Broken families create broken families. The pain doesn't start with Soos and doesn't end with him. What Soos does is break the cycle. He doesn't abandon people. He doesn't leave when things are hard. He stays. If Soos ever has children, they'll have a father who shows up. That's how cycles break. One person choosing differently. Let's talk about Soos and romantic love. Before Melody, Soos had never had a relationship. We don't know if he'd ever been on a date. This is a long time to be alone romantically. It shapes a person. Soos probably believed, on some level, that he was unlovable, that his father left because something was wrong with him, that no woman would want him. Giffany exploited this belief. She offered love without risk. She made Soos feel chosen. When Soos chose Melody over Giffany, he was choosing to believe he could be loved for real. That's an act of faith. It takes courage to choose real love after years of believing you don't deserve it. Let's examine Soos's relationship with Melody. Melody is introduced in Soos and the Real Girl. She works at a restaurant. She's kind, patient, understanding. Melody sees something in Soos that others miss. She's not put off by his awkwardness. She finds his earnestness charming. We don't see a lot of their relationship develop, but we know they stay together. By the end of the series, Melody is part of Soos's life. This is huge. For Soos, having a partner is transformative. He's no longer alone in the fundamental way he was before. But relationships are also work. They require vulnerability, communication, trust. Soos probably struggles with some of this. His models of relationship are limited. We have to hope that Melody is patient, that she understands Soos's wounds, that she helps him heal without demanding he be fixed. Let's talk about Soos's capacity for love. Despite everything, Soos loves generously. He loves Stan, who dismisses him. He loves the twins, who will eventually leave. He loves Melody, who he's just met. He loves Abuelita, who raised him. Where does this capacity come from? How can someone so deprived of love have so much love to give? Maybe love isn't a limited resource. Maybe being hurt doesn't reduce your capacity. Maybe it increases it. Maybe Soos loves so much because he knows what its absence feels like. Soos's love is a miracle. It shouldn't exist given his history, but it does, and it makes everyone around him better. Let's discuss Soos's religion briefly. Soos's name is Jesus. Soos is a nickname derived from Jesus. The show doesn't explore religion directly, but the name is meaningful. Jesus is a name of sacrifice, of service, of loving those who don't deserve it. Soos embodies these qualities. He sacrifices for others. He serves without recognition. He loves unconditionally. I don't think the show is making an explicit religious statement, but the parallel is there for those who want to see it. Let's talk about what happens after the series ends. The show ends. Soos's story continues. He runs the Mystery Shack now. He's responsible for the legacy Stan built. He has Melody. Maybe they get married. Maybe they have children. He still waits for the twins to visit. Every summer, he hopes they'll come back. He probably still checks the mail on his birthday, just in case. Old habits die hard. Soos's future is open. It could be happy, probably will be, given his arc, but it's not guaranteed. Life doesn't end at the finale. Soos still has struggles ahead, still has growth to do, still has years to live. I hope those years are kind to him. He deserves kindness. Let's talk about why Soos's story feels so real. It's because the show doesn't fix him completely. Soos grows, but he doesn't become a different person. He's still awkward, still insecure, still carrying his wounds. Real healing doesn't erase the past. It doesn't transform you into someone undamaged. It just helps you carry the damage better. Soos, at the end of the series, is still recognizably Soos. He's just a Soos who's been loved more, who's been seen, who's found belonging. This is realistic. This is what growth actually looks like. Not perfection, just improvement. Not fixed, just better. Let's compile a comprehensive list of sad Soos moments. Any mention of his father, his 12th birthday alone at laser tag, the father on the bus story. Every birthday, he hated working for minimal recognition, his eagerness to please Stan, his loneliness before Melody, his inability to talk to women, choosing a video game girlfriend. Seeing himself in Stan's dismissive thoughts, being transformed into a zombie, facing the potential apocalypse, his modest dreams for the future, his self-deprecating jokes, living with his grandmother as an adult. The card that never came. His decision not to confront his father, crying at his birthday party, crying when receiving the Mystery Shack. Every moment of being overlooked, every moment of being the background character, every moment of giving without receiving his weight and probable emotional eating, his academic struggles, his limited social skills. Watching others have the easy connection he lacks. Being too old for the teens, too young for the adults, the inevitable goodbye when the twins leave, the future goodbye when Abuelita passes every quiet moment alone at the shack. Each of these is a thread of sadness woven into Soos's story. Together, they create a tapestry of pain that makes his triumphs meaningful. Let's talk about the moments that aren't sad, because Soos's story isn't only pain, there's joy too. Soos genuinely enjoys his work. Fixing things gives him satisfaction. Being useful makes him happy. Soos loves adventures with the twins. The excitement, the danger, the camaraderie, these are highlights of his life. Soos finds joy in simple things. Food, games, jokes. His pleasures are accessible and he indulges them freely. Soos's friendship with the twins is real. They like him. They include him. They care about him. Soos's relationship with Melody brings genuine happiness. He's found love. It's not perfect, but it's real. Soos's recognition from Stan is meaningful. After years of being overlooked, he's finally seen. These joyful moments don't erase the sad ones, but they balance them. Soos's life isn't a tragedy. It's a complicated mixture, like all lives. Let me reflect on what Soos means to the show. Gravity Falls could exist without Soos. You could tell the main story, twins, mysteries, Bill Cipher, without the handyman. But the show would be lesser. Soos provides heart. When things get too dark, Soos's kindness reminds us what's at stake. He's what the characters are fighting for, ordinary goodness. Soos provides humor. His jokes and misunderstandings lighten heavy moments. He makes the dark palatable. Soos provides relatability. Not everyone relates to genius twins or mysterious uncles, but everyone knows a Soos. Everyone has felt like Soos. The show needs Soos more than it seems. He's not the protagonist, but he's essential. Let me reflect on what Soos means to viewers. For many viewers, Soos is the most relatable character. Not because everyone has absent fathers, but because everyone has felt unseen. Everyone has loved without receiving love back. Everyone has hoped for recognition that didn't come. Soos's pain is universal even if his specifics are unique. When viewers feel bad for Soos, they're feeling bad for themselves too. They're recognizing their own wounds in his story. This is the power of good character writing. Soos becomes a mirror. We see ourselves in him and feel less alone. Let me end with a direct address to Soos. Soos, if you could hear this. You deserved better. You deserved a father who stayed. You deserved recognition from the start. You deserved to be celebrated, not overlooked. But you also deserve credit for who you became. You could have been bitter. You became kind. You could have given up. You kept hoping. You could have closed your heart. You kept it open. This isn't nothing. This is everything. Your father's absence is his failure, not yours. What you built, despite that absence, is your triumph. You are loved. By Abuelita. By Stan in his way. By the twins. By Melody. By everyone who knows you. And you are loved by us. The people who watched your story. The people who cried when you cried. The people who felt bad for you and cheered for you and wished you well. You matter, Soos. You always did. For those of you falling asleep, I hope you carry some of Soos's kindness into your dreams. He reminds us that the overlooked people matter, that quiet goodness is valuable, that you can build a family from whoever loves you, sleep well, dream of birthday parties with people who show up, dream of mystery shacks where you belong, dream of fathers who stay. The mail comes every day to the mystery shack. Soos probably still checks it on his birthday, just in case. One day, he'll stop checking. One day, he'll fully let go. But not yet. Hope dies hard, even healthy hope, and maybe that's okay. Maybe a little bit of hoping is what makes Soos who he is. Sleep well, everyone. Thank you for spending time with Soos. Good night.